Okay, so about the biggest misunderstanding about Iranians in the world. Um, I think the biggest misunderstanding about Iranians in the world happens through Iranians, in a way. Uh, the thing is, like everywhere in the world, Iran has fascists. Like everywhere in the world, you have religious fundamentalists. Like everywhere in the world, you have like a freedom movement. Like everywhere in the world, you have communists, you have socialists, you have like Republicans, and so on, so on, so on. Of course, unlike everywhere in the world, unfortunately, we have a theocratic like a state, and unlike everywhere in the world, like or it's better if I say, like some places in the world, we have a more totalitarian state in the what's the name of it, in the government. uh, and this is something that I think like everyone when they want to represent Iran, they want to always react to this, and they want to always start from the point that either approve this with a denial, or they want to either deny this with approving only one thing that they want to like a present. um I mean, it's not only their own like a, even like a, what's the name of it, belief system, or it's not either like their own presentation. Like for example, you have like a some kind of a, you have some kind of a thing in here in Europe that I see, that's like people who are like okay, we are all traumatized basically through our experience of living in Iran. I think at least most of us, and some of us, like I think, like show this trauma by like becoming a monster, and like some kind of approving any demon only to negate that demon. Some of us, I think, sees always like demons and think, okay, it's all bad, like let's deny everything about it. I think one thing like after like all these things that he said, I think one thing is a really coral thing in Iran, in presentation of being Iranian, or in presentation of Iranianness, if there is such a word. That one thing is like a multipolarity, like that one thing is like when like you say, yes, this is the Persia, like this and that, you should remember that, oh yeah, there's also Kurds, there's also Turks, there's also Arabs, there's also like, there is no inferiority. And when you say this is a Shiite empire or this something, you should like remember, of course, you have lots of like atheists who cannot like come out because they get killed. You have lots of like Christians, you have lots of like Jews, you have lots of like what's the name of it, Sunnis, and so on. When you say like any one word, I think is really reductive to say what is Iranian, and whenever it's represented in one word, it's is reductive, and it's like a misrepresenting. And I think this is the thing that always happens about Iranians, and it always happens, unfortunately, by some Iranians, either from the government, or either from the opposition, or either from the opposition of opposition.
Hello everyone, welcome to chapter 197 of The Last Thoughts of a Busy Mind. This one titled, Iran is not a monolithic political party. Yes, we're diving into the world. I was thinking deep diving. That's why I said deeping. But yeah, we are diving deep into the world of politics. Well, not very deep. I have around 15 minutes, so it's gonna be a very criminally short one, unless we come back to it. At the beginning of the episode, you listen to my friend talking about what they thought the biggest misrepresentation of Iran comes from. And, well, it was somewhat political, so we're going to be talking about politics because, yes, we are still in season 14 and the theme is misunderstanding Iran. Before we go on, my drink today is water, just normal water. And because you have to do that, this is a Last Thoughts of a Busy Mind show after all. But yes, let us get into the politics. So, when it comes to Iran, one of the things I've also noticed very much when discussing people, especially people who are not in Iran or people who have lived outside of Iran for a considerable amount of time, there is always one thing that I've come back to, and it's they all believe that everyone in Iran feels the same way, and it's usually the same way they feel. And it usually goes into two directions. They're either all they're all theocrats or religions or traditionalists, or they are all monarchists and royalists, always looking back to, well, to quote a aging war criminal, make Iran great again. But yeah, this was the persuasive narrative, especially through the Iran-Israel 12-day war. They call it 12-day war. I don't know. They are. The Iran-Israel war. This was the most pervasive narrative, especially spouted by a lot of Iranians. So here's the thing: they're both wrong. Iran is not a monolithic political party. It is not as regressive as a lot of people, especially war hawks, like to believe, and it is not as progressive as some hope it to be. We do have our own brand of fascists. We call them monarchists and royalists. We have our own brand of conservatives, though they are mostly traditionalists. We don't have much conservatism in the original sense because the ideas that the traditionalists believe in are not really to do with conserving, but even going like deeper. They're not trying to keep something that is no longer there or it's going away. They're not trying to conserve everything. They want to regress people back to a time that didn't exist. And I guess they are conservatives at the end. But yeah, let me just quickly go through the bigger movements in Iran. This is again criminally short, but I want to divide it into four sections. First is governmental. Now, Iranian government is not a democracy. We have a supreme leader. It's a cleric. It has to be, and clerics are usually hard right. Like they are extreme. I don't know why there is this pervasive language, especially by, there is no other way to say it, by idiots who think that the mullahs, the clerics, and the ahunds are left. Like they either don't know what left is or what ahunds are. There is no other explanation. Like, do you know what you're talking about? That's such idiotic bullshit. They are hard right. They believe in a lot of things that the hard alt right believes in. Genuinely, just take out the white supremacist and put it Shia supremacy, and you have an alt-right party. The only thing, I've said it I think before, the only thing that is kind of tragic about alt-right in America and the Islamic Republic is that the alt-right in America, because of their Islamophobia, don't see how much they have in common with the clerics in Iran, with the Islamic Republic. They could be friends. They could be friends, and together they can bash LGBT rights and bash women's rights together. I hope my sarcasm was very obvious. I don't know. I am kind of angry. It usually gets that way. So, there is the government. It's hard, right? Within the government, there are two quote-unquote, very heavy quotation, political parties, reformists and principalists, and they're both useless. Just so you know, we have government, and there are a lot of people who align themselves with the government. Now, these people are what I like to call traditionalists. This is different than the governmental. Governmental is also traditionalism, but they are more structured. Traditionalists aren't really structured. They believe in tradition, and that's kind of it. Now, the version of tradition that they believe in is incredibly regressive and doesn't seem to match reality. They believe in a version of history that isn't real. Now, that's normal for a lot of people, especially nowadays, to believe in a version of history that isn't real. But in this case, they mix and match their favorite parts. They believe things that they want. Now, funnily enough, the traditionalists tend to be supporters of the government, and they are a lot of them. Don't get me wrong. Don't listen to the royalists and monarchists who always feel like, oh yeah, there's only one step away from total collapse of traditionalism in Iran and bringing back monarchy, which is in and of itself another traditionalist view, but we will get there. I have to talk fast because I don't have a lot of time. But yeah, I don't know why I keep these videos 20 minutes. Nothing will change if I make them 40 minutes, but 20 minutes, that's the golden thing from, I don't know why I do it. Anyways, not enough time to discuss it right now. So, traditionalists are a lot, especially in rural areas. They still believe in a lot of traditional value, and they believe the Iranian government to be representing them. So they are a lot of them. Do not listen to the monarchists. They are a lot of them. And most of them are older generation, granted. Most of them are concentrated in rural areas rather than metropolitan or urban areas. But they are there, and they are huge supporters of Islamic Republic, because in their eyes, the Islamic Republic is upholding the tradition. Now, tradition doesn't necessarily mean religious. It is there. Religious is there. But traditionalists don't really see religion as this coherent, religious ideology. They just see it as something that has happened to them for a long time, and they believe in it implicitly. Like the kind of people who probably won't fast or pray, but they all believe that you shouldn't step on graves without ever thinking why. It's a thing in Iran. Maybe I'll talk about it someday. But yeah, they are the traditionalists. Now, traditionalists also, you have your hard traditionalists, you have your hard religious and all of that within this movement. But these are usually people who support the Islamic Republic. Now, this is the two groups who are in support of Islamic Republic, and they are usually the ones mostly demonized by war hawks who want to bomb Iran and are just looking for an excuse. So these people gave them the best excuse. They're the ones who usually are chanting death to America and shit like that. And yeah, so these are these two. The other two groups are the opposition to Islamic Republic. First, we're going to talk about the funny ones. The monarchists, the fascists. They are the people who believe that Reza Pahlavi, the son of the late Shah of Iran, the last Shah of Iran, Muhammad Reza Pahlavi, they believe he is the true prince, and Iran should be a monarchy. They go behind this guy. Now, usually they say fascist movement have a charismatic leader. I have never seen a guy with less charisma, so maybe that is a stereotype we need to retire, especially when we're talking about Iranian fascists. Now, why do I call them fascists? Is it just that I don't like them? It is part of the reason I don't like them, because they are very fascistic. They believe in isolationist policy, but not in terms of trade or anything like that. No, they love capitalism. They just want immigrants gone. Now, this is where we get to the fucking stupid stuff, because they believe Iran is for Persians. I've talked about it in the last episode, how Reza Shah kind of fucked everything up by introducing the idea of the Persian race in Iran, but they believe Iran is for Persians. And this is where we start talking about, okay, who do you call Iranian? And then we get to the fact that they want to expel all Afghans, no matter if they are Iranian, because again, Iran has a lot of Afghans. We were the same country. And they want to expel all of them, execute a lot of them, and then they want to basically erase the culture of people who are not Persian. They hate the Kurds and the Turks and the Laws because they speak a different language. They completely disregard Sistan and Baluchistan because to them it's just like, oh, it's a war-stricken and poverty-stricken region, so let it just rot away. And these are not me projecting. These are the actual policies. They believe in a rigid totality of land doctrine that is kind of funny when you realize that the guy they are running around and praising, his dad gave away Bahrain. So, funny, but they are immune to irony. They also do not believe in LGBT rights or women's rights. They are believers, harsh believers in patriarchy. They are also not a very big fan of religious minorities. They don't really like the Jews because, of course, they don't. Most fascists don't. And they do not like Zoroastrians or Sunnis or all of that. They do not call themselves Shia because they believe Shia is a curse word given to them by the clerics. But they are harboring a lot of Shia supremacist ideas. Again, they are traditionalists who just hate Islamic Republic. So they come up in opposition to it and bring a lot of those ideas and a lot of those hard right ideas, and they just make it funny because, the guy they're supporting is an idiot. Reza Pahlavi is unequivocally an idiot. Hopefully, I don't have to delve deeper into that. I have 2 minutes, so let me get to the last group, which is freedom fighters. And basically, these are people who are against Islamic Republic, but they are not monarchists. They don't believe that Iran should return to a monarchy. Some of them call themselves true Republicans. They believe Islamic Republic is not a republic, which is correct. It's a dictatorship. And so we should go to an active republic. Some of them are socialists who, believe in socialist things and are advocating for the same form of government, but, one with the supreme leader at the top. And some call themselves Democrats. They believe that, again, Iran is not a democracy. If it's a democracy, everything will be okay. This is miscellaneous groups. They are a lot of them. They are not little. They just don't align themselves with the monarchists. Now, there have been times where they have aligned themselves with the monarchists, and those are dark times, which we probably will talk about sometimes later. But this is what I mean by Iran is not a monolithic political party. This is the reality of it. Each of these groups have a footing in media, and they have representations of themselves in media. Western hard right often looks at traditionalists and governmental factions and say, look, they are that. And some people look at the monarchists and feel like, oh, Iran should be like that. And it's neither. It is complex. It is as complex as any other country. And if you box it down to the idea that you see on TV, whether it's a monarchist talking about how Reza Pahlavi is the second coming of Jesus Christ, or it's a traditionalist talking about how Islamic Republic should remain the way it is. Those are simplistic ideas. They are not the truth. And with that, I will see you all next week.